There's some new Cuomo stuff coming out, and guess what? It's not about the broads. You know what it's about? It's actually about COVID. Somebody from his administration is become a whistleblower and did a little interview.
Now to our exclusive reporting on New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and his deadly nursing home scandal. We are hearing a new side to his decision to force nursing homes to accept patients infected with coronavirus.
For the first time, a nursing home administrator is speaking on camera about the governor's controversial order that COVID patients be put in long-term care facilities.
Who's this mafioso fucking morgue guy that's rolling the body out? What's that about?
He really, and he's got the purple gloves too. Is this 1991 Undertaker?
Apparently.
Rather than in hospitals.
Also, what's up with her eyes every time? I can't stop looking at her eyes. She's Chunk from Goonies' eyes.
Shahasny spoke with that administrator.
Here we go.
My position.
What? Okay, come on. What is this now?
It's like if the company that made the cool glasses for the Matrix is now making a mask for COVID. It's a little thing that's just clipped on his nose and covers his nose and his mouth. Like, it's not a full face shield. It's just covering his nose and his mouth.
That thing serves one purpose, to make you look foolish. I don't understand.
You're like a fucking idiot.
I would wear that like as a joke.
Right.
Like if they were like, hey, we're doing an interview about COVID. Are you willing to? I'd be like, yo, you got Ziploc bags and a rubber band? I'll do an interview. Can you give me like 2 minutes? And I would just come back with a little strip and go, I know.
And from the get-go was, we can't do it.
Michael Krause is the administrator of Silver Lake Specialized Care Center in Staten
Looks great. Looks haunted.
Island, New York. And for the first time, he and his team are telling us what
weird hat he has on.
Really happened behind closed doors when Governor Andrew Cuomo issued that controversial March 25th
See, if
order.
I didn't make this smaller, then the hat would look even smaller.
Got it. The hat's got to be bigger.
I got to balance it out.
Got it.
It required all nursing homes to take in COVID patients released from overwhelmed hospitals. He says he first heard about it
How funny would it be if this just red pills Cuomo hard?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you find it, a little suspicious? All these people coming out against me, what do they have in common?
Oh, no.
Think about it. What do all these people into media, into banking systems, and they're going like, easy, easy, buddy.
Do you still want to have a job after this, bud?
How do you think I was Attorney General for Bill Clinton? Because one of his people made a phone call. All right, we got to get this guy
COVID conference call with other administrators, hospital leaders, and state officials.
I said that's ridiculous. Everyone heard about the story that happened in Washington State. And, that was enough for me to understand I can't put these people at risk. We can't be doing this.
She's very pretty.
Well,
you can see without the mask. But yeah.
I don't like the masks nowadays, man, because that is a very important region.
It's just not right to the residents.
And you vocalize that on these.
She's pretty with the mask on. So are the Mortal Kombat chicks.
Okay, and then they have the big Baraka mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I did vocalize it, and then once it was shot down, I never spoke again. There are more important people than me who thought it was a good idea.
Who was it shot down by?
I couldn't tell you. It was on a conference call. I don't know.
Krause says many other administrators rang the alarm. And then just 4 days into the new order, the nation's largest association representing long-term and post-acute care providers pushed out this stark warning. We strongly object to this policy directive, it reads. This action by a state will put the many frail and older adults who reside in nursing homes at risk.
But you know what they didn't realize? This is a really important thing. Andrew Cuomo's dad died. So
wait a minute, has anybody reported on that?
No one's talked about it. No one's mentioned it.
Jesus, when did that happen?
It's like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, give or take. It was of old age.
The group even offered recommendations to reduce that risk.
We think that the governors and
remember when that president you all hated sent an entire boat And look, it's hard to forget the boats because
The big rats.
we milked the boats. We milked the boats for months because it was, at the time, I thought it was a very childish, stupid idea. But it turns out it was perfect because now you had one, literally there was 2 boats. There's one in Los Angeles, there's one in New York. They had a giant ship that they sent, I think, 3 people to. They didn't want to use the boat because it was Trump's boat. It was Trump's boat, and fuck him. Fuck Trump. Fuck white supremacy. Fuck his white supremacist medical boat from the Navy. Fuck him. So they didn't send, like, all this time, this whole fight comes down to, all right, so people got COVID, they sent to the hospital. Then they were like, you're fine. They sent them back to the old age home after they've been around all these infected people, and they got other people infected. And the whole argument is just nonstop. People going, well, what was I supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? Where was he supposed to send them? There was a giant boat not being used. 2 boats. Well, I don't know. Was there 2 in New York?
Oh, you're right. One in New York, one in LA.
But it was
You're right.
still, the one in New York was empty. It was totally empty. Now, if Cuomo had sent people to the boat until the boat just was full, and then went, I don't know what else to do, I guess start sending them back, he would almost have an argument here for where it's like, I wasn't negligent. I was trying my best. We were running out of room. But like, A, you had the boat. B, you had completely empty hospitals with nurses filming TikTok videos and posting their tits on Reddit. You had entirely empty hospitals. And I know they go, well, we were afraid the hospitals were going to get overrun. But isn't that like, don't we cross that bridge when we get there? Like, don't we? Like, if when 9/11 happened, nobody was worried about hospitals overflowing. Nobody was going to kick a firefighter out with a broken back because, well, we got to make room. There's more people coming in. So the hospitals were empty. Keep them at the hospital for a bit. But they didn't because it's too expensive. And there's like all these little angles, but it's like in any other administration in history, people would have been like, wow, the president sent that giant ship. We'll just stick the old people on there for a couple days till they clear fucking, till they do the 14 days and then put them back. But this all boils down to, no, fuck Trump. Fuck him. I'm not going to use this stupid boat. And that's why these people are dead.
Oh, because of the hate. All because of the hatred of Orange Man. You're right. That's all it is.
State followed that advice with the exception of New York.
At the time, Krause feared his facility didn't have enough PPE. He says his vendors told him they had to prioritize hospitals. So he followed his gut and locked down.
We would take back our own patients because that's only fair. But to take on new cases, I felt was unfair. So
they were taking patients that weren't even theirs. That's good.
We shut down the entire operation. We had no admissions for about 10 weeks, maybe longer. I don't remember. And I mean, that was my way of following the governor's order.
But refusing to take in patients from hospitals came with consequences.
Many facilities were threatened by hospitals to take the COVID patients.
Threatened in what way?
Well, I mean, again, I never saw the exact emails, but they were threatened that they would be reported for noncompliance.
So they were strong. So it wasn't even that this was his order. They were strong arming the nursing homes to take back COVID positive people.
Yeah, and again, for what? Your hospitals were empty.
Yeah.
Is it just, are they like the teachers? Did they just not want to work?
Yeah. They needed a whole floor to do a Nicki Minaj TikTok video, Mike. What do you want these nurses to do? Where do you want to do the TikTok videos in their home? Is that what you want?
By the way, I just want to point out Amish Space Force in the chat says, I don't trust this dude. Fine, fair enough. Aside from the hat he's wearing, I would like you to explain to me what it is you don't trust about him. What about, besides his hat he's wearing, what about his story or any of his body language or anything makes you not trust him? If you can answer that question without describing his hat or his nose, then we'll listen to your argument.
I think in our case, we weren't allowed, we were told, please don't send us your sick patients. There were multiple hospitals that were threatening.
That were saying, don't bother sending us your patients.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
In the end, Silver Lake reported 2 confirmed COVID deaths at the facility, 6 out of facility, and 37 presumed COVID deaths.
You know, I heard the best tinfoil hat theory about this too.
Sure.
About why they're doing this. Because we're getting President Kamala before this term's over.
Oh, of course.
They don't want her to have to primary against anybody. They don't want her to have any challengers. They don't want her to have anybody that makes her look bad. They want to get rid of anybody that's fucking got any kind of fucking even thought. I don't believe that. I'm just telling. That's a theory I heard from somebody, that they don't want anybody to start undercutting Kamala during her amazing presidency that's going to be totally scripted, and that they want to have a second term with Kamala. But if there's anybody in the Democratic Party that is even remotely fucking positive,
sending a
cool,
message,
it's going to fucking undermine her.
The numbers are not the lowest in the state, but far from the highest.
So you following your gut, do you think that made a difference?
Knowing my population, I think we would have had a lot more loss of life.
There has to be a better regard for the elderly population and the population of residents in nursing homes that are sick. They're vulnerable, and I think they should have been given a much higher priority.
In May of 2020, Governor Cuomo amended his nursing home order. Now, hospitalized residents must test negative before being readmitted to a nursing home.
Oh, okay,
But
cool. I
wasn't
mean,
it
the damage was done, though. So, I mean, that's good that he amended it.
damage already done? Did the March 25th directive put these facilities in an unreasonable position?
They were petrified, but they were more petrified at the Department of Health.
New York's Attorney General found insufficient PPE and testing at nursing homes put residents at increased risk of harm. 15,000 people died in nursing homes and long-term care facilities.
You know who else came out against Cuomo recently? Well, sort of. Biden. Biden said that not with the nursing home stuff, but if the Attorney General finds that that these women's accusations are true, that Cuomo has a constitutional obligation to step down. Biden, the one who was saying that he was his best friend and they were buddies and he would talk to Cuomo every single day, and I guarantee you that there were some promises made to Cuomo too. I guarantee you that there were some promises.
Yeah, well, and Biden's right. When you are credibly accused of for sexual misconduct during an election, for the sake of America and what's best, you should step down. Tara Reid.